Boom! We are alive, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us this evening. It is February 16th, Sunday. I wanted to take a little bit to talk about the market, some of the things that I think are coming in the future, and what that might mean. I sent out a newsletter about a week ago talking about how I felt a lot of the air had been taken out of the altcoin sector, mostly due to Bitcoin ETFs not allowing this kind of sloshing back and forth, the profit taking we used to see from Bitcoin into other speculative assets within the Web3 ecosystem. And one of the things I started to think about was that over the next 5 to 10 years. Now, if any of you have followed this channel for many years, I've had a long time little niche of pontification where I feel that money, given enough time, loses what we think of money as a value today. One of the reasons being is money is mostly a store of value, very similar to a battery. And one of the reasons why we use batteries so frequently is because we have a really hard time generating energy. Energy is not easy to get on this planet with the current methods that we use. And I've had in the back of my mind this idea that over the next 10 years, we're going to see a massive deflationary wave in technology and energy, whether it's micro nuclear reactors or something fusion based or maybe something gravity based. I think there's a real chance here in the next 10 to 15 years that because our energy production costs will drop so dramatically, it'll become exceptionally easy to produce electricity, which means the ability to produce products and goods or services would also drop dramatically. Now, the other deflationary wave I've been talking about this last 4 or 5 years, in early 2022, I started ringing the alarm bells around excess mortality, massive increases in the disability in the United States. A lot of this data we had gone over. And I had also speculated that if the numbers are right, because the data seems to be continuing, that excess mortality is increasing, or at least the above the 5-year rolling average, which you would think it shouldn't be given current context, that this would be the first time in my life, in any of the lifetimes in our generation, generations prior, where you were actually seeing a rollover in human population. One of the things that's helped our society grow so much over time is having more people with more thoughts, more ideas, more value to contribute to society. But if you were to see, and as I think we are seeing, a reduction in population, it would beg the argument that there's a massive deflationary wave, not just coming from technology, but also from the lack of those people spending. On average, we would expect the population to be growing, but if the population is actually diminishing, that purchasing power, the velocity of capital, is also going to be diminishing. The Federal Reserve had come out and said, well, look, we're not going to do any type of quantitative easing unless we are back at 0% interest rates, and barring anything really crazy happening, we probably won't see 0% interest rates. But with Trump's tariffs coming in, and what Trump's been talking about with the potential of like no income tax, it'd be amazing to see if the United States just dropped all of his income tax and said, hey, all of the people who are intelligent, come work in the United States, we'll give you 5 years, no income tax. Everybody else, no one pays income tax. We're slashing all the government spending. We're getting rid of as much government regulation as humanly possible. And I'm leading all of this up to say that I have this sneaking suspicion at the back of my mind that our road to kind of infinite energy, one of the next steps we're about to see is a massive bull market. The deflationary pressures from technology, even if we're not at the bridge of basically what would be infinite energy, the deflationary wave of people just dying quicker than they should, is going to give room for massive amounts of capital to be injected into the system without creating general consumer inflation. So over the next 10 years, I suspect that all assets will effectively go up. I said this in many of my earlier videos over the last 2 to 3 years that I was expecting some type of market melt up. And since 2020, that's effectively all we've seen. They've printed trillions of dollars. Much of it's gone missing, as we're finding out through these USAID stuff. They're just giving it to all sorts of left, right, wing propaganda nonsense to support the kind of global one world agenda that have been going on for a really long time. So I suspect that as we continue, what we're going to see is this opening of the potential for a rip-roaring bull market, not just in prices, but in discovery. You know, I'm a huge fan of the scientific method and what science is supposed to stand for, but I think it's very clear to many people now that profit has overcome science for longer than I've been alive. And that's a shocking thing to discover. It means that there are answers that are highly productive but are not profitable that have been hidden, probably in more than just the medicinal field, but we can just start there. It's pretty obvious there are things that are basically cheap and or free that can probably help, but then you just will never find them because the pharmaceutical industry is paying to just hide it, to discredit scientists, all left, right, and center, and collaborating with the government in doing so. So if you were to remove that, megaphone of corruption, I think the signal of real science would actually start to come through again. So although I suspect we're going to see a massive amount of volatility in the next 3 to 6 months, and I suspect that we'll see a spring in Bitcoin, we'll probably see some pretty deep drops in the altcoin sector to follow that spring. I suspect that very shortly afterwards, Bitcoin will continue on its rush upwards into the 200 grand. I think some of the altcoins will bounce, but I suspect that the fun that we used to have between 2017 and 2020 of the altcoin space is effectively over, because billions of dollars washing back and forth between Bitcoin and Ethereum that fun is over, unless they include more cryptos into the ETFs, and even then you're just looking at a basket or maybe a potential index for crypto ETFs. So not as much slosh as we used to see. But barring that, I'm extremely optimistic about the next 10 years. So whatever you do, don't fucking die. The next 10 years are going to be goddamn amazing to discover. I'm really excited to start producing more videos with you guys. I've had some big life changes I'm really excited about sharing with you. I'm actually headed to Tulum to go do a retreat tomorrow for meditation, ice bath, breathing, hanging out with some of my really good yoga friends, etc. And then I'll be moving to Asia for the next year. I'm really excited to share part of that story, although we'll save my excitement for the next time. I just wanted to make a little video, post it, no charts, no nothing, just Tio riffing and ranting for a few minutes, and let you guys know that I love you and that I miss you, and that although I'd taken a little bit of a break from the Arcane Bear, I'm back, I'm excited, and getting back into the grind again of producing content with you guys and just sharing my thoughts, even if it just happens to be in the hotel room the night before I travel somewhere. So let me know how you guys are doing, what you're thinking, how you're feeling. Am I way off on my mark here? I'm really interested in reconnecting with the Bear family. So leave your thoughts, your comments, share the video. And I'm just going to start sharing everything that I'm going through, even if it's not market related, although like 90% of what I think about in Arcane Bear is all market and money related. I felt that maybe if I just allow myself to communicate with you guys just like this, I would get rid of some of the blockages I was having by, is the camera set up, or could I switch back and forth between the screen share for Bitcoin, as in comparison to just back in the day when I first started this channel, I had a crappy Galaxy Samsung, and I would record it in like what it looked like I was recording through a potato, and I would upload it, and I wouldn't care. I was just happy to share my thoughts and share what I thought was valuable. So I'm gonna get back to that. I'm gonna try to remove the obstacles that I was putting in my own way of trying to produce something perfect or specific, and just share with you all when I feel like it's a good moment to share. Anyways, it's you with the Arcane Bear. We'll see you guys again soon.